with Patdees. My channel's Patdees72, and Kimmy, Borderline Hoarderish. And we have a special guest, as you guys know. We have Casey, the RockStar Flipper, coming on. He'll be here in a couple minutes. And we're really excited to have him on. I basically, back when I started YouTube in January, he was one of the reasons why I started YouTube. And I've always wanted to have him on the show. I've actually been talking to him privately through Facebook Messenger and Instagram since then. And I wanted to get to know him more and stuff before I asked him to come on the show. And probably about 6 weeks ago, he said, yeah, I'll come on, but he was out in eBay Open and stuff like that, and busy with his schedule, which I understand. And now we have him. When we do the show, we plan these out actually about 6 weeks in advance. And here again, we have him. Kimmy, if you want to introduce yourself and say hello to the chat before we bring Casey out.
Sure. My name is Kimmy or Kimberly. My channel is Borderline Hoarderish, where hoarding is only cool if you can sell it for a profit, folks. I am a mom, a reseller, and I live life with a pacemaker, and I am so excited for tonight's show. Yay! All right, let me see who's in the chat. Who in here? What up, Deep Fried Deals? Dave, nice to see you, sir. Land Shark Picker, what up, Craigers? Oh, Eat, Sleep, Amazon. Hi, sweet Tiffany. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being awesome, by the way. Tiffany, you are a rock star, too. Just Connie. Hello, hello. Adam. Love you so much, Adam. Adam, I told Casey I gave him the connection of the hug in Vegas. Adam, you're awesome. Thank you for being here. T, my great find for you. Hello, sweet T. Do Page Picker, Greg. What's up, Greg? Tommy, Bargain Effect. What's up, sir? Oh, Rockstar Flipper's there in the chat. He says, I'm here. Hello, Kelly. I think that's all that we have so far in there. I know that tonight's show is a little earlier than usual, so I'm assuming that people will maybe start to flow in a little later than normal.
Right, and that's okay. They're asking where RockStar is coming here. So I real quick wanted to do, I have the special package with StreamYard, and I wanted to do this real quick. I had done something back in January, and I don't know if Casey ever saw the video I did, but real quick here, let's take 30 seconds.
Good morning, everybody. A little bit after 9:30 in the morning here on a beautiful Thursday from Tampa, Florida. Got it. This is Salvation Army. If you're ever in Tampa, Jackson's Harbor Island, Jackson's Bistro Harbor Island, amazing food. Amazing
Why don't we just drop the link to that salad down below?
Yeah, we'll drop the link. We'll give you an affiliate link to the salad. Like this is pretty rare these days, but for all the doubters, I want.
And that was part of the video package that I made back in January. The 10 people that inspired me, and Casey was one of them. So I'm really excited to have him here tonight. Let's bring him out. And here he is, Casey the Rockstar Flipper.
Crowd goes wild.
I should have had that music on prep when you said it. Bring them out. Bring them out. I don't want to demonetize the channel or get it taken down though. What is going on, everybody? Good evening. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Mr. Patdees himself. What's up?
Not much, buddy. I appreciate you coming out.
Really?
Land Shark Pick. I already made Casey. I made him a mod on my room. So this way, if he wants to kick anybody out, he can do it himself.
No, don't let me kick people out. I'm too scared to kick people out. I'm bad at booting people. Adam's better at that than I am. And speaking of Adam, he just was very generous. I see that over in the chat, Mr. Adam.
Yes.
Super chat.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. Adam, oh, shoot, I thought you were going to show the Walmart video. I'm not sure what video that is. Again, I made that video up of the top 10 people that influenced me, and I said back in that video, and I was limited to a 30-second clip, and I said Casey had the best intro music. And I think about a month later, he changed it. And I had sent him a message, and he quite wasn't sure what I was talking about. But it was just a great that he was actually the person that made me realize on YouTube that you can't just kind of come out and say, hi, I'm Patdees, and that's it. You had to make some sort of intro, and I haven't done that yet on my videos. I mean, I do tie some music, but eventually I want to do something that is that tie-in that he did. So I'm really impressed with this young man.
So, thank you. That's very, I'm going to give you an insider secret about that. I paid someone on Fiverr, and what I did was I sent him the music. I sent him the music clip, and I sent him the pictures and the video clip. So I basically just Dropboxed him. He gave me his Dropbox. And Flippin' Crooters, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And DePage Picker, both saying hello. So welcome in, guys. So I sent him the video clips, the pictures, and the sound. And he charged me $20, and he edited and put everything together in 2 days. I had it back, and I had him change a couple more little things, and he sent it back to me the next day, and that was it. I didn't have an intro, just like you. A bunch of people were telling me like, hey, you got to grab an intro, you got to get an intro. And so I was like, all right, I'll finally do it. And so I got this guy on Fiverr. He had 5-star reviews and off to the races. And so that was kind of the behind the scenes. I know how to edit now. That was circa before I knew how to do anything. But I could probably put it together now on my own. But why not? I gave him $20 and win-win, and there you go. So.
Yeah, I just like I said, you reminded me, and maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, as this kid, and I call you a kid.
I wish.
Well, you are. I mean, you're like 10 years younger than me, and just very motivating to see someone young come out and not just do reselling, but motivate people into learning about. I'm going to ask you, what exactly does Casey the Rockstar Flipper do? When you meet people and you tell people what you do, what do you do?
Usually I tell them I'm an adult entertainer to see if they believe it, but no. So what do I do? My life has been, if you want to wrap it up into one sentence, I will never work for somebody else. I am the epitome of entrepreneur, and there's a lot of people that don't believe me, but I have never had a job since I was 20 years old. I am an entrepreneur in every sense of the word. Of what I do for a living is I buy and sell stuff. I sell things. I'm a salesman. Whether it's buying it from a thrift store or a pallet or from some of my followers and flipping it on a platform, whether it be eBay, Amazon, Posh, whatever, to, selling myself, my knowledge, my services. I sell a little bit of everything. I sell affiliate products where, everybody needs a thermal printer. In our career, a thermal printer is a piece of equipment that helps us. And so I sell those thermal printers. I don't actually stock them, but I can send people, and get a referral fee. So I'm a salesman. I sell anything and everything, and that's what I do every day. That's what I do for a living. Part of my living includes teaching other people how to do what I do, which is how to sell. For a long time, I didn't think that I was really qualified to do that. Again, I'm 34 years old. I've been selling since I was 20, 21. We're going on, 12 plus years, 13, almost 13 probably at the end of this year. So having that much experience has allowed me to learn a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. It's inevitable in 13 years that you'll make a boatload of mistakes, which I have. I've learned it. And not to mention with the interactions that I have through hundreds of thousands of people, I get to hear the problems and mistakes that thousands of people make. So not only do I have the experience of one person's mistakes, I have the experience of thousands of people's mistakes and wins and losses and gains and profits. And so all of that knowledge is dropped on me. And so that is my biggest self-motivator of how I can help other people, because I have everybody's input. I get to see it from everybody. And so, yes, I'm a buyer and seller as a living, but I get to teach other people how to buy and sell too. So, I don't know what do you call that? Like, some people are electrical engineers. I guess I'm a motivating salesman. I suppose that's a word for it.
Well, when I found you again, I thought this was a guy that was reselling that also was a motivational speaker. And anytime that you can motivate people, it helped me. Because I went through, I was in business for the restaurant business for 20 years, Casey, yeah, and had over 800 employees and got cancer 2.5 years ago and lost the restaurant. And I was selling part-time on eBay and had to restart. And through Googling and looking on YouTube, that's how I came across you. And I started watching you, and I'm like, here, everybody wants to knock, the younger generation, they're lazy, they're not doing. You proved that all wrong. I lumped you in with, if you ever get a chance, go back and watch that video. You're in that Steve Rakin and Rally Root, and I bring them up because I know that you know them.
Yeah, they actually live 5 minutes away from me. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Now, why don't you tell people who don't know, like, where you live?
So I'm from, I call it a little town, but it's not so little. Just outside of Tampa, Florida. It's about 15 minutes to the east of Tampa. So we live in quintessential suburbia, Florida. This is your normal, it's a small town, but we're piled. Anybody that doesn't live in Florida doesn't know they put houses on top of each other. So my neighborhood is like 3 square miles, but there's 5,000 homes in my neighborhood. So I live in suburbia, USA, just outside the city limits of Tampa. I can be downtown or at the cruise ports or the bay in about 5-10 minutes. Rally Roots does live. They live just out the main road and on the south end of the road. It's probably like 10 minutes to get to where they live. Their building is another 10 minutes the other direction. And I actually used to have an office a couple miles from where their office is. So yeah, it's kind of a small world that Ryan and Allie and me and everybody live in this little compacted area. But it's kind of cool. Yeah, we've if you've never seen it, we've been out to dinners with Ryan and Allie. I love Ryan and Allie. We don't see eye to eye on everything as with anybody, but they're great to learn from as well. If you've been watching them, they have Ryan's got a lot of experience and a lot of business knowledge too. So. We do things differently, but there's lots of people to learn from. So
right, exactly, and not everybody has to do things the same way to be successful.
Right.
And that's part of how it makes us different. And I have a lot. I actually want they were number one on the list, and I love to have them come on one day. If you ever talk to them, you put a good word that we treated you right here on our channel, and
Have you messaged Ryan requesting?
Yeah, oh yeah. Me and him have talked, and even Allie. So if they're watching this, they just got home from Peru.
Yeah.
I try to be honest. I try to develop a relationship with people, and I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to watch, and I want them to understand why we do this show and why we bring people on here is to for our guests, and hopefully if a couple people get motivated out of it, they learn something from it, and that we have a good quality show when we do this. So
and before I forget, I want to say to you, like on that point, I don't know Ryan's. I know a little. Me and Ryan talk a lot about his past and his history. They've owned other businesses and lived around the world. But I wanted to touch on like your little thing about your restaurant story and the whole cancer thing and whatnot. Me and Ryan and I don't know Ryan's entire story, but Ryan and I haven't dealt with anything nearly as serious as that. I have a family that was all military. They live a normal middle-class American life. They work hard. It's not to say my family struggles, but they don't live fancy, elaborate lifestyles. They just live an everyday life. And I would be okay with that, but I've never been the person that's okay with anything. Like I've always been like, I want to do more and be bigger and better. And if I go down in a blaze of glory, so be it, but I at least want to give myself a chance. And I didn't come from money, but I also didn't come from a bad situation or have to overcome a ton of obstacles like you had to overcome. And so that is on the flip side motivating to people like me and Ryan. I don't know Ryan's whole story, but to see somebody like you, and there's several other people that are part of my groups and things that have had way harder obstacles to overcome. You may be familiar with Noelle that had the serious burns and the gas explosion at her house 2 years ago. Before eBay Open. If you're not familiar with her, she was in my eBay Open video. She was doing something with a lawnmower 2 years ago, and it blew up in her garage. And she was burned over 80% of her body. And she, to this day, is still reselling and running the business full time. Her kids helped her keep it going. And that's her full-time business. She makes several $1,000s a month, $4,000 or $5,000 a month reselling. And she couldn't even get up out of bed for 6 months because of the burn treatments and the grafts. So there are people like you and her and that have done so much more than me and Ryan and anybody else could ever dream of overcoming. So we, as much as we love to hear that we motivate people, other people motivate us too. So you guys just keep that in mind. And so thank you for, doing what you guys do too.
I appreciate that. That's very nice to say. You seem like a bright young man, so I greatly appreciate it. And there's no, people when you get out of, go to college, go to, trade school and stuff like that. And it seems like created your own path. And by doing that, I think you can motivate others into doing, because there are a lot of people that are looking for, because of medical reasons or side hustle things to do, that this, not everybody's going to make it. Not everybody's cut out for this. But again, if you just motivate a couple, I know for me, I'm hoping to really make this something successful. Now, when I say make this, I sell on eBay, I sell on Amazon. I do property management too, and YouTube. I want YouTube to be successful. I want to share my story and share it with others, and hope that it turns into something, that people can tune into every week. And this is why we try to bring on guests like yourself, that it keeps it interesting every week when we do this show.
Right. Yeah. Guests are the biggest thing. And I'll be honest. I used to have guests all the time, big and small. It didn't matter. I just wanted to have, for me, the videos were easier to kind of bounce back and forth and talk to each other rather than just being individually on your own. It's hard. If you look at some of the most successful YouTubers, podcasters, anything to do with social media, it's almost always a team, whether it's a husband and wife or a brother and sister or best friends or acquaintances or coworkers or whatever it is. It's almost always a team. The discussion goes faster and there's more to talk about and there's more to bounce off of, and you help each other. And so you've got the exact, blueprint of what you need. And so YouTube is, and you've been doing it for the last 9 months, 10 months, solid. I mean, I don't know. What do you have? Probably 200 videos up now?
Yeah, 200 videos, close to 1,400 subscribers. And,
right.
One thing I've been doing is I've been putting myself out there to meet. In other words, I've been traveling, and I don't see really anybody else doing that. I mean, Jeremy and George from What the Hells are in here. I've met I've probably met now with about 15 different YouTubers channels. I've been on the Bearded Picker show, and I'm going out.
I love him.
Yeah, I went. I drove 15 hours in one day. I did 1,800 miles in 8 states, and stopped. At, Missouri. I stopped at Nevermore Antiques. I've met the Jeebuses. So what happens is that willingness to also meet and work with others, and even people that don't do YouTube, they're excited. They're like, because they want to, talk to people that do the same thing and hang out for a day. And maybe they learn a little bit and it makes them feel better about doing this. And there's Rebecca. Now she has a channel for flipping crooters. She just went out and met Tommy and Destiny and hung out this weekend. So that's what's good about the YouTube part.
Man, you have such a good attitude outlook towards that, because you just hit the nail on the head about like networking and just reaching out to people. 99% of us, I can't speak for everyone, but 99% of us are more than happy to talk to anyone or hang out. Look, half of the reason with eBay Open to go, like, once you get to a point at eBay where you're a seller and you understand everything, the workshops are okay and you can learn a little bit. But let's be honest, nobody goes to Vegas for a conference because you want to sit through 8 hours of learning something that you probably know most of it anyways. You went to Vegas because why? You want to hang out with all the cool people and all the awesome, YouTubers, or the, even if they're not YouTubers, just the people that are doing what you do, that live the life that you live every day. And to be able to sit, we sat at a bar. The first night we were there, we sat at a bar, with the live music with, I think it was 16 of us that all do what we do every day. And just we were there like 4 hours. And that networking and that talking to people, never be scared to reach out. I don't even know, I think there was 10 people when I sat down that I didn't even know. And now I talk to them in text messages and group messages every day. And so you've got to get out there and just reach out and talk to people and meet people. That's why we do the meetup in eBay Open. Anybody who hasn't been there, we do a meetup on the first night. And there was, you'd have to ask Katie and Vicky, I think 300 people there. 300 people at that first meetup. And it is this business. Look, and Pat will probably tell you, look, we what do? We sit at home and we resell, right? So what's the connection? What's the socialization that we get, right? We're kind of like, separated. We're cut off from the world. I sit in my house and I buy and I sell. And yeah, I go to thrift stores and occasionally I run into people. But at the end of the day, I love these shows and these interactions more than anything, because the networking is how you learn. You learn what other people are doing, what they're selling, what they're not selling, what they fixed last week, what they learned from a show, who they networked with, how somebody built a $10,000 business. You learn everything through networking. So never be scared. Like, I'm glad that people reach out to me, and I feel bad because I wish I could reach out to everyone else, but it's not possible for me to talk to everyone. But if someone reaches out to me, I will do whatever we need to do to sit down and talk or chat or do a show like this. It makes me I love it. It's probably my favorite thing in the whole world to put names and faces to video and to be able to reach out to their audiences and talk, because this is what I do. This is, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't have done it for 13 years. Just a thought.
Now you mentioned you live in Florida. Isn't there, what's going on with the weather down there?
Yeah. So welcome to September in Florida. So last year we got spared nothing. 2 years ago was Irma. Everyone might have remembered. I did a live show from Tupelo, Mississippi on September 6th. I actually pulled the video. We had to evacuate on September 5th of 2017. Because that storm got serious. It was no joke. Thank God it didn't do any real damage. I lost 2 pull screens that cost me a whopping $200 to replace. Thank God. And so this year we have Hurricane Dorian that is now been upgraded from a 2 to a 4. Typically, Floridians don't worry about 1s. We don't really worry about 2s. Once it hits a 3, we start thinking about like some flooded roads or some power going out. When it hits a 4, we get a little concerned. 4 can do some serious damage. And so it's a 4 now. It's going to hit the east coast of Florida, which is, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Jupiter, that coast. There's a lot of cities for it to go through to get to my coast, which is the Gulf Coast of Tampa. It's got to go through Orlando. It's got to go through West Palm Beach. It's got to go through Fort Lauderdale. So hopefully, sorry for everybody on the other coast, stay safe. But hopefully when it gets to Tampa, it will be broken up to a 1 or a 2. We'll probably lose power for a couple hours. We'll probably have some flooded roads. I don't have to leave if I don't want to. So thank God for my job. Thank you, eBay and Amazon. Yeah, we have to plan around that. Our YouTube shows, we could lose power. We may not be able to ship, which is a great question. I'm glad you asked that. A lot of sellers, and I don't know if you've seen this in any of the groups, are asking about if they can't ship or they can't go to the post office. Do you happen to know a little bit? Well, actually, speaking of, there happens to be something going on Monday. Does everybody know what's going on Monday? I just got reminded of this before I came live.
Labor Day.
Labor Day. Yes, that's on it. So I was telling everybody to be careful about Monday shipping because of the delay. But Monday is closed anyways. Labor Day is a federal holiday, so the post office is closed, so you don't have to ship. So Tuesday is your normal handling time for 1-day shippers. If you sold it over the weekend, which would be tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, and you had to ship Monday, would go out Tuesday. Now, assuming the storm knocked out power, the post office was closed on Tuesday, eBay will protect you. If you're going to be late and can't ship it till Wednesday, then you would be protected. eBay will back you up in the event of natural disasters, emergencies, terrorists, anything like that. eBay will protect you. In fact, during Irma, they removed 1 day's worth of late shipments for me because I underestimated the return time. When we drove out of town, I didn't calculate it right. And so one of the days I sold 5 items and they were all late. So they took care of it. So they will take care of you if you're in Florida or Georgia or the Carolinas, wherever this storm ends up. Don't worry about it. But if you do leave town or if you have to evacuate or you are out of power, you can certainly change your handling time and back your handling time up to 2 days or 3 days and calculate it out. But if the worst happens and you can't ship, eBay will take care of you in the event of a natural disaster / emergency.
Hey, Casey, we have a quick question here from Wade's Ventures. I'm not sure if you know.
Yeah, can you guys, anybody in the chat, can somebody tell me who this Wade guy is? Anybody?
I don't know. Who is that? Who is that Wade guy?
Who's that Wade guy?
I might know him. Maybe. I hear he lives, I think, somewhere in Oregon or something like that.
Oh, God. He's one of those Oregon people. Really?
Yeah. I don't know what they call them. Oregonians.
Oregonian. Didn't they have an earthquake this morning, like a 6.5? Did part of Oregon fall off? No, not the Wade part. Okay. Anyways, I see Wade Ventures in the chat.
Yeah, Wade was in that top 10 list too. So, I mean, you should have met him.
Can you knock Wade to 11 just so he's not on the top list?
Well, I already made the list. I'm trying to get him to come on the show.
Look,
and he's being a little reluctant. So maybe
can we edit the video just because he's being reluctant? Edit the video and re-upload it as a number 11.
That's funny. Don't worry, Wade. You're in my top 10, buddy. Don't worry.
Wade was in my top 10 until 2 years ago when I met him in person, and he wore the ramen noodle suit, and I had to be seen with him in public in Vegas.
That's awesome. I love that suit.
And then fast forward to this year at eBay Open, and I had to be seen with him in public again. Look, guys, Wade is an awesome dude. He's exactly who you see on the internet is Wade. Like, you get what you pay for with Wade. If you pay for $1 of Wade, you get Wade. If you pay for $100 with Wade, you get Wade. And I've never seen a guy, let me tell you something, and Wade is going to kill me for this, but it is 3:00 in the morning. And again, I didn't get drunk in Vegas, which is my normal, like, I have alcohol, it's my vacation, whatever. I'm delirious, tired, walking through a casino back to my hotel room at 3 a.m. Wade is sitting with a stack of poker chips in front of a table as big as my head, playing poker at 3:00 in the morning, yelling at me across the casino to come sit down. And I'm like, dude, it's like 3:05 in the morning.
You got to pay for the trip.
Right. And then I'm like, Wade, you realize back home where I live, it's 6:00 in the morning, right? I know you live on the West Coast, but where I live, it's not 3 a.m. anymore. I'm going to bed. And he's yelling across like 8 feet, you wuss, come back and play. I'm like, Wade, we're done. And he's got Jason Deason from Thrift Traders sitting next to him. And I'm like, you guys have a wonderful night. And they're just like laughing at me. And I'm like, no, we're good. We're good. So yeah, that's Wade. What you pay for is what you get with Wade.
So we got a Wade story. Maybe we'll have to have a special show, stories of other people at eBay Open, and we can find out a lot of tidbits.
I may have low-keyed videoed people on my phone just to have the clips. Yeah, no. Somebody said it. The Four-Eyed Hustler said at 3 a.m. Absolutely, positively, 100%. Wade and Jason were sitting at a poker table at 3:00 in the morning as I stumbled back to the hotel room. No doubt about it. That was just one night.
Now, after this show tonight, Casey always goes live 9:00 too. So we're going to go over there and watch his show tonight, show him some love. So if you guys at 9:00 want to come over and join Casey. Now, Adam, who is a mod in his room, is posting, links and stuff to go over there. So if you go over there, say that Patdees and Kimmy Borderline Hoarder sent you there, and so he knows. Maybe you guys have never seen Casey before. Casey, how many YouTube subscribers you have right now? I know you usually post some like a clock over there.
I have an overlay on one of my things. I think it's about to be 94,000. It's getting close. It's like 93.9 or something. We're getting there. We're closing in on that 100,000 plaque. You know what? If you had told me 3 years ago I'd get 100,000 subscribers, I would have laughed at you. 93,546 is the live count right now.
That's so exciting. So I don't know. Jeremy is still. Oh, there he is. What the hell's they hit over 100,000 not too long ago, and recently got to open their silver button. So I'm excited for when you hit that and you get that.
If you had told me 3 years ago that I would get one of those in the mail, I would have laughed at you. Like. That's actually a 10-second story. People ask me how I decided to start a YouTube channel. I got some emails from some people about doing something on eBay. God, Lord knows I can't remember what it was, but I said something about it's too hard for me to explain in text messages or something. And so I was like, let me make you a video. And I made the video, and I was like, crap, I can't actually email this to you. It's too big. And like Dropbox was available, but it wasn't very good at the time. It was like 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. And so I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get this. And somebody messaged me and said, put it on YouTube and make it private, and so we can see it. And so I made it private and I put it up, and they watched it, and it got like 3 views. And I woke up, and so I knew everyone that I'd sent it to watched it or whatever. And so the next day, I'm not paying any attention to it. And I logged in like 24 hours later, and it had like 30 views. And I was like, how did 30 people watch my video? I only gave the link to like 3. And they're like, oh, I showed my buddy, and I think he might have sent the link to someone. I'm like, what? It's a private. Stop sending the video link out. I was begging people not to watch my YouTube videos. Go figure, right? And so like a day later, I watched it again and it had like 80 views. I'm like, oh my God. So then I did this. I told my fiance and I clicked on the link and I made it public. We woke up the next day and it had 400 views. I almost lost it. I was like, whoa. And so that was like the people are interested in eBay type thing. And so I made a second video. I had an idea for a second video and I made a second one. And sure enough, it got a boatload of views the next day. And I was like, that, you know, we're going to make videos. Like, and I only watched like there was only 3 YouTubers at the time. There was nobody back then. You're talking 2015. There was Steve Rakin and Bonafide Hustler and a couple others. And so that's who I watched. And I messaged Chris Bonafide. I'll never forget it. I messaged Bonafide Hustler and he took 3 weeks to respond to me. And now, you know, I text Chris Chris is actually commenting on my personal Facebook right now as we speak. And so me and Chris are never met. We've still not met, me and Chris, but we're good friends. So yeah, it's cool. You know, YouTube is a whole nother world, but it's awesome. And I love to see people like you guys getting out there and doing it because it's a fun world. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. It's fun.
It is. I agree. I agree. You learn a lot about yourself first off doing YouTube, but also and what you say, like, because people love to repeat whatever the heck, you know, little quirky things you say, which anybody who's watched me knows that you never know what's going to come out of my mouth on a live. But,
yep. The YouTube filters are all over you.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'm having I enjoy it really, and to kind of inspire or help, you know, people in some way is what I've always wanted to do. So I'm able to do that. I'm much more than you are. I'm at 1,400 and something subs. But
I remember the first 1,000, and it's the first 1,000. It's all uphill from here.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Honestly, my year goal, because Pat and I started our YouTube channels at the same time. My first goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers in a year, and I had plotted it out, like had how many I was going to do a week and all this to be able to get to that point. So I was proud when I hit that, and I think it was awesome. April. That was pretty awesome, and it, you know, there's quite a few people who kind of helped me along the way. So many, Wade being one of them, letting me come and hang out with him on.
Man, Wade really will promote everyone as best he can. He really puts it out there. So, and I'm going to link this through Instagram and Facebook. I already put it all out in all my Facebook groups and my Twitter, so I'll put it on Instagram too tonight. So, I'll link both of your individual channels. I did want to jump, and I feel bad anytime I miss these, but I saw a couple questions and things in the chat. What the hell said, isn't it whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? And then Adam followed it up with whatever happens in Vegas ends up on YouTube. That's about right. Well, when you put like 10 YouTubers in the same room, it's pretty much not going to happen.
We teased Harlan. He said he was at your party because he went live, I think, twice. But the one night that he went live, it was a little crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Harlan at all, but he's from Alabama, friends with Scott, the bearded picker. I had to meet him last week.
Oh, he walked when they walked by me on Fremont Street. Yes, and we were like about to cross each other, and I was like, "Hey, there's bearded picker," and I turned around real quick, and I was like,
I saw you on that live." Texas Val is asking here. I'll highlight it on the screen. Casey, will you ever make it to the Green Room meetup in Texas?
So I'm going to take the complete blame on the dropping the ball for this year. Chris was blowing me up. Bonafide Hustler was blowing me up this year. And we had the Vegas trip, and 2 weeks before my fiance left town, so I had to run everything. And 2 weeks before that, I left town. So we had 3 straight leave towns, and we have 2 dogs here. Anybody who doesn't know, Adam mentioned it. We have 2 dogs. We have a rescue dog and a Yorkie, and we call them the Wrecking Crew. They are really bad separation anxiety. So when we leave town, we try to leave town separately. When we left for Vegas by ourselves, it was a disaster. Our dogs hated us, but it's tough for us to leave all the time. And I was going to go to Texas, and I dropped the ball, and I failed. Next year, 100%, I will be in Austin for Green Room. So yes, I love the Green Room guys. Steve Rakin is one of my, motivations from way back in the day. Chris Bonafide has been nothing but, reach out. Very nice guy to me. Eric College Picker is an awesome. If you've never seen his videos, he makes quality vlogs, quality videos. I love Eric. I've met Eric in person. We all had dinner together here in Tampa. So the only one I haven't met is Chris, but we've all, you know, there's a ton of people down there. Trey Whitlock from Dallas, who hangs out with him. He's an awesome guy. There's so many nice people in the green room in Dallas. So and Austin. So if you ever get a chance, hang out there.
I'm curious, what is fueling all of this? Because you really kind of got a lot on your plate. What is, I mean, are you doing this all for a dream or a plan or a goal or, you know, being this busy? What's fueling your fire? What's motivating you?
The truth, there's two things. So the obvious is, and I'll get to the second side of it because it kind of follows this up. I go crazy when I'm not busy. I mean, call it, you know, I don't want to call it a mix of OCD, ADD type behavior. And I'm sure if I was diagnosed, probably. I cannot sit still and I have to have stuff to do. If my to-do list, and I preach this on my Instagrams and Facebook about to-do lists, and I don't care if you use a free one or a paid one or a journal or, you know, Star's bullet journal or whatever, I have to have a list that's so long that I know I'm never going to get it done. My to-do lists on a daily basis are purposely made to not finish. And the reason is I can't just sit down in bed and just stare at a TV and just like, I don't know how people do it. I have to have nonstop work. I've always been that way. I don't know why. It's not that I necessarily like work. It does keep me busy, and yeah, it is. It's just something that just keeps burning. Like I'm like, I got to move on to the next thing. You know, there's some people that just like to kick back and relax. I can't do it. I work 7 days a week. You know, whether I'm sitting on my phone, sitting on the iPad, sitting on this computer, I work. That's just what I do. And this is kind of a toot of my own horn, but if you're going to learn from somebody and you're going to get motivated from somebody, do it from somebody that doesn't sit still. Do it from somebody that doesn't take work, you know, days off. I was sitting in Vegas, and there's a lot of people that will confirm this for you. While they were getting in their dresses and getting dolled up and makeup and doing all this to go out, I was sitting on the computer using the craptastic Wi-Fi in the Mandalay, uploading a video or uploading, you know, emails or posts, trying to get stuff done before we edit out. That's just what I do. The second side of that, and everybody would say it, is money. Yeah, of course I like money. I want to make money. But my thought is tiered things. So when you make X amount of money, if you lost that job or you lost a source of income and you're only at tier 1 and you fall down, you're at the bottom. I want to make sure I'm so far up and I have so many things coming in that even if I lose one or two things and I fall, I don't fall back down on my face. I might fall a little bit, but I can still have something to work on and build back up. That's kind of that thing about not putting all of your eggs in one basket, having multiple streams of income. You know, if I lost one of my streams of income, it would suck, but at least I'm not going to be homeless or living under a bridge, if that makes sense. So
yeah, we talk about that all the time about having multiple streams of income, because all it takes is one thing to go wrong. I mean, for example, like eBay, you know, there's a glitch in eBay, which has happened on more than one occasion. Mm-hmm. And it really happens everywhere. Like, and you don't have sales coming in. That's pretty scary. And I don't ever want to be like, oh my gosh, I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to pay the bills.
Right.
And, you know, it's better to have kind of, multiple streams.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You know, is eBay going to go out of business tomorrow? No, of course not. But is there something that's going to happen that could cost you $1,000 a month? For sure. And you don't want that $1,000 a month to be your car payment and car insurance or your rent or what have you. You want to be, you know, you never, you know, I love people that are like, oh, you know, my bills are, you know, whatever, $3,000 a month and I make $3,100. I'm like, wow, what happens if? You know, what happens if, you know, I'll give you another great example, and welcome to Florida again. My air conditioner broke, I don't know, 3 months ago, and I had to wake up one morning. Our house was 96 degrees in the middle of June, and I had to give an air conditioning guy $835. What happens if that's your emergency fund and all of a sudden you're not making that $1,000? Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What if your car broke down on the side of the road and you had to pay a tow truck and a repair guy $800? What are you going to do? You can't just make enough. And it's sad in this world that that's how it works, at least in this country, but you have to work above and beyond. If things go wrong, it only takes one thing. And 85% of America, and this is a fact, Google this up, somebody fact check me, 85% of America could not cover more than 30 days if an emergency happened. 85% of America. That is a staggering number.
85% of Americans could not make it 1 month if an emergency happened. Just a thought. So
Yeah, it's
Well, Casey, that's why and I'd like to meet you in person one day, because that's my goal, is not just to talk about selling on eBay and Amazon, is really to take my history of owning 4 restaurants and 800 employees and turn that into something where I can teach entrepreneurship. I trade the market. I invest my son's 401k. That making a plan, even at $200 a month, a lot of young people don't realize that if you started out with $100 a month and then gradually increased it to $200 a month by the time you're 30, and you stick to that the rest of you can retire a millionaire with the right plan. And
right, investments, absolutely.
And I'm hoping, to be honest, that maybe you can teach me a way to how to network and I want to tell my story about growing up on welfare and not having a good family and the struggles I went through. But you know what? I'm still doing all right. And maybe you can guide me on how to kind of take that step to go. Because I'd like to go into colleges and do so. And I'm not talking, it's funny because someone just commented about Susie Orman. Who's the other guy? Dave
Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. I listened to him on the radio sometimes when I was driving home, and he was a guy that really, when he talked about how he invested in real estate back in his 20s and everything collapsed and he had to file bankruptcy, and now look at him, he's successful. So even though things happen in life, there's still, if you want to do it, there's still a lot of opportunity to restart and even be in a better position
absolutely
than you were before.
Yeah, that goes back to what you went through. And when you have something as serious as cancer, and you just said it yourself, the restaurants and 800 employees, and you went from this to this, and I don't know what the time frame was that happened from when you got your diagnosis to where you had to start your treatment to being all the way back down. I mean, was it a matter of months? Was it 6 months? Was it?
Well, what happened was I realized I had gotten too heavy. I was drinking too much soda, and I wanted to lose weight, and I started losing weight, and then I found out I had the cancer, and within 3 weeks I had surgery. And at that same time, I had competition come in, and I put myself in a position financially that when something happened, mechanical-wise, the building and fell behind on taxes, I couldn't get out from under it. I have no family to support me, and unfortunately, talk to the bank, that doesn't work.
Not for long. You can spare a month, but that's it.
Yeah, and I heard stories like people who had issues and were able to live in their house for 4 or 5 years. It doesn't work like that on commercial loans. You basically get 2 months behind, you're done.
Yep.
And that's what happened. So I'm hoping to meet you one day and really have a serious discussion.
Absolutely.
And really. I have a 2-year goal, and I'm willing to travel and do that, and I'm hoping that I can inspire other people. Or, I know enough about the restaurant business that I can tell people what not to do and what to do. And
let me give my uninformed, uneducated experience on the restaurant business. It's tough.
Yeah, low margins, high investment. So, hey, we have a question here I want to highlight real quick.
Absolutely.
People, I am following the chat, but when you're the host, what I'm trying to do is read the chat to the side, also highlight questions. So I apologize if I miss any questions. That's why it's nice to have Kimmy here, and I appreciate it, Kimmy, every week. You're a great co-host, and who were you 5 years ago, and who did you want to be 5 years from now?
Four-eyed hustler, great question. Who was I 5 years ago? I was not a YouTuber 5 years ago. So my channel is 4 years old. It was started at the very, very end of 2015. And in fact, I didn't even upload hardly any videos. It was started in December of 2015, 2015. I didn't upload any videos until really like mid 2016. So it's been about 3 years. I was not a YouTuber. I was simply buying and selling. At that point in time, we bought and sold from Craigslist and from storage units before storage units were really popular on TV. I was just a guy trying, I bought the house that I live in right around that time. about 4 to 5 years ago. And so I was just a guy trying to make a living, trying to, survive and make reselling and make money. And it was about that time that I was trying to figure out how to take what I was already doing and make it bigger. I was capable, probably, let's say I was making, I don't know, $3,500 to $4,500 a month in profit, really hustling all day with my fiance helping me. And so I started watching YouTube, and I started watching Steve Rakin and Bonafide to figure out how to grow what I was doing. And that's when I became that person that was like, man, I'm a business owner. I've got to treat this like a business. So that was 4 or 5 years ago. Fast forward to now, where do I see myself in 5 years? I'd love to have, more people that I can help. The more people I can help, the better. The more people that I help, the more, call it, I don't know, what's the best word for it? Clout, recognition. It's not about, some people do stuff for fame or for whatever. Mine is more about the backing. I want to have, I don't care if thousands of people are following me, as long as thousands of people are saying like, hey, he helped me actually build something to, a sustainable income, to a full-time income, to whatever it is that they want to put it to, whether it's part-time, full-time, whatever. The more people that say that, hey, so-and-so helped me and it was the reason I've reached this, that's more important to me than followers, subscribers, whatever. I'll take 100,000 people telling me that I helped them build a business over 100,000 people clicking a button to subscribe to me all day long, because nothing matters except, I could make 1 million videos. If it doesn't help anybody, who cares, right? Like, who cares? If I'm just sitting here spewing out crap that no one cares about or no one actually benefits from, it's a complete waste of time. I'd rather have people come on here and say, he's the reason that I took my business from 500 a month to 5,000 a month. And, not just the fact that they're going to say it and back me up, but the fact that their life is different. Because I used to be that guy that made X amount and was like, man, I want to get better. I want to get bigger. And I watched and learned from people and got bigger and better. And, that's it. We're all entrepreneurs and we all don't want to work. I know what it feels like to not want to work for somebody. I know the freedom. I know the stress of, like, my friends that have to get up every morning and go to work and clock in. I just talked to a friend this weekend that I hung out with that's like, I was 10 minutes late for my job that I've worked for 7 years, and my boss threatened to fire me over 10 minutes late for the first time in 7 years. I'm like, wow, really? 7 years? You were 10 minutes late and he threatened to fire you? That's no good. Like, what kind of life is that, right? Or the friend that I have that pays $1,000 a month for daycare, and his wife goes to work and barely makes enough. Her job doesn't barely pay enough for the gas and the time and the daycare. And I'm like, why does your wife even go to work? She should just stay home and watch your kid. It's a trade-off, right? What kind of life is that? Your kid's growing up in daycare and your wife doesn't make enough. Like, that's the kind of people that it makes me feel good that, like, what I do might help them change that situation. So, fast forward 5 years, I'd love to have 100,000 people tell me that I've helped them to do that. So that's what's most important to me.
I think that's awesome. It's good to be helpful, and you really have inspired. I know a lot of people. I hear your name come up often. All good things.
All good. No, there's always some people, but yeah, I'm good with 99% of people are awesome. And you know what? If I help you a little bit, great. If I help you a lot, fantastic. If I don't help you any and you just, use me for motivation and you learn other stuff from other people, that's cool too. Even if I'm just the one that tells you, like, you can do it, keep going. Even if my specific tactics and strategies aren't the one that help you, but the motivation helps you, that's cool too. Like, I'm good with that. Like, whatever you need to do to get it done, just get it done. That's my advice to everyone is if you watch me, great. If you don't, that's cool too. Whoever you watch, whoever you don't, whatever you learn from, just get it done. Everyone's capable of it. I didn't come from, a devastating background or a, homeless under a bridge, but I didn't come from the best background and I made it happen. A lot of people came from a lot worse and they made it happen. So just do it. Everyone's capable of doing it. Just put your head down, work, and get it done. Just make it happen. That's it.
Now, Casey, what platforms do you sell on right now?
Okay, so eBay is 2 stores. We have a store we just hit 800 listings on our smaller store. That store does a couple thousand. I think we're at like 2,500 a month on that store. We have a second eBay store. We keep that one private simply because we're on social media and YouTube and there can be some issues. That store's primarily our electronics, like our video games, video game systems, tablets, webcams. We sell some microphones, similar to like the one that I'm using right now. We just sold one a couple weeks ago. We sell all that kind of stuff. It's a higher price point, more returns, but we do about 5,000 to 6,000. I think we're like 5,800 for our 30-day on that one. So we do close to 9,000 or 10,000 on eBay a month. We're at 50% margins. And then we have an Amazon account that we ship. We do FBA and FBM. It's toys, games, electronics, all kinds of tech, any type of that stuff. We do, this month we're probably going to do about 35 to 4,000 on that one. So our total e-com sales, we do Poshmark, but we only do a few hundred, 400 or 500 a month on that one. We don't really focus on Posh too much. So we'll do about, give or take, I would say, this month, I think we're going to close between the two stores, probably with Poshmark, maybe 11,000, 12,000. And we operate right at 50%. It's almost like elementary 50% for us. So we'll do 5,500 to 6,000. So call it, 70,000 in profit from our e-commerce sales. I also do some direct sales where people contact me to buy some of our merchandise wholesale. We also sell locally some of the bigger items that we flip. It's probably only about $1,000 in profit a month. Not too much, but it adds up. I mean, that's 12,000 a year. The wholesale is probably another 1,000 a month, so another 12,000. So just the wholesale and local is 24 grand. So all of our selling combined, last year we did 113,000 in profit from all of our wholesale and our e-com sites combined. And that doesn't include what I do here on YouTube, affiliates, my training, and all that. So that's a whole nother side of my business. That's a separate side. And so
right now, let me ask you, Casey, why are you not doing Amazon? Do you have any?
No, we do Amazon. Yeah, we do Amazon. We do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do 50-50 split FBM to FBA. FBA is all of our lightweight stuff. Think like video games, webcams. We do like what we used to do iPods. But anybody who's not familiar, Amazon has an exclusive deal with Apple now, to where you have to be a third party. So we can't sell our iPods on Amazon anymore. They have to go on eBay. But yeah, we still sell. That's why our Amazon sales dropped drastically. Last Christmas, we did 13,800 gross sales December for Amazon. And now this Christmas, we'll probably do like 6,000 because of Apple products. We used to sell a ton of Apple products, but they cut that.
Do you have anything you like to sell, like a preference of things?
Video games. Like I love video games. I'm a video gamer at heart. I don't get to play them anymore because I'm so busy. I love video games to death. Reselling them is fun. Here's an inside tip. I source in 2017 to 2018. I spent $70,000 at pawn shops. Tampa has a lot of pawn shops on video games and video game systems. That's almost all I bought at pawn shops because they would be like $1.99, $2.99, $3.99, and I could flip them for $18, $20, $21. And so they were great flips. I could walk into a pawn shop and buy 10 video games and then go to like each pawn shop all day long and go to 10 pawn shops and come home with like 100 video games that I spent, $3 a piece on for $300 and sell them for $20 a piece. So it'd be, ridiculous profit. Yeah. So video games is my thing.
Do you have I always like to ask this for people who have multiple or sell on multiple platforms. What do you think is the easiest one to maybe start out on selling on?
Ooh, good question. eBay allows you to sell anything. There's really no restrictions on eBay. Amazon has restricted gated items. So Amazon kind of seems intimidating to people and a little off-putting because of the restrictions. In honesty, Amazon is easier to list on. Anybody who's never listed on Amazon or never sold on Amazon or whatever, they don't realize just how easy it is. The restrictions are a pain in the butt. Don't get me wrong. I've had my account for 6 years, but there's a lot of good stuff that's ungated on Amazon that you can sell right off the bat, and it's faster to list on Amazon. Plus, you have the option of FBA to send it to Amazon and let them handle it. Amazon's a fantastic platform. Don't forget, Amazon is the global leader in e-commerce, $226 billion in 2018, and probably on pace to do $270 billion this year. That is 70% over their closest competitor, which happens to be eBay. It's a huge number. I mean, Amazon is the monster. So if you've never sold on Amazon, I highly recommend that you consider it.
Casey, real quick, I want to make sure that people don't feel that we're skipping any questions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Derek keeps on saying, I guess he noticed he picked up, you keep on saying how many employees do you have? And he talked about your gross to your net. You did answer the net question. You netted $113,000 profit before taxes on your internet sales last year. So I guess the we is it. Are you a company?
Yep. So my company is essentially me and my fiance. We have an LLC. We own a sole owner LLC, which means I'm the single owner. Because we are not married, she's not, I guess, like community ownership of it. I did add her as 1% because I wanted to give her rights to sign checks or do whatever. But yeah, the sole owner LLC is taxed exactly the same as a sole proprietor, which means whatever the business makes, you pay your taxes on it, and then the money is yours. Yeah, C Corp, S Corp, once you hire employees. In the past, I have had employees. My fiance's sisters worked for me. My mom has worked for me. I hired them just as 1099, so that was very easy. I didn't have to have any kind of different business. Currently, right now, it's just me and my fiance. She works for me during the day. She sits here and takes the photos and the listings and descriptions and helps me sort and prep and clean and do all that. I do all the pricing and I do all the sourcing, which means either going to the stores to source or I buy a lot from the internet, from pallets or followers or what have you. So that's our whole business. When I say we, I mean me and her. Two of us are able to run this. My net, our business on reselling operates on 50%. So if I tell you I made $110,000, I probably did $220,000 in gross sales. 50% is about average. eBay and Amazon take 10 to 15% of your fees. You've got shipping label costs, you've got materials, you've got store costs, you've got cost of goods, you've got travel, you've got expenses, you've got gas, you've got mileage. 50% is a pretty solid number. Some people operate at 42%. Some people operate at 56%. It's all, based on how you run your business, but ours is right about 50%. So if I do 200 grand in sales, 220, I'm going to make 100, 110 profit clear. Obviously that's pre-tax, just like if somebody has a salary for 100 grand. Right. So you have to pay your taxes. Now, as business owners, we get very lucky because if we made 110 grand and our tax bracket's 30% and the IRS says you owe us 30 grand, we get to do deductions. We get to take our home office, our mileage, our shipping materials, our tape gun, our tape. We get to deduct all of those items.
Right, exactly.
So our taxes might be 30 grand, but by the time we're done, we might only end up owing them 15. And so that's very good.
People that aren't, I did that when I had Subways, that effectively I paid zero taxes a couple of years because I kept opening another store. Hey, Keith, we're down to about our last 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, we got another 10 minutes. We're good.
Okay. I do appreciate, I hate to ask people, but the problem is sometimes people feel the question gets ignored and it's always hard to talk about money because, you could have someone make 100 grand and another person make 50 grand and still have, it all depends where you live or what your bills are and stuff like that. So for you volunteering that information, I appreciate that because,
no worries.
To show people that you can, there's always people that are skeptical and stuff, not everybody needs to make 100 grand even at your level. There are people that if they made an extra $300, it might be a difference of paying for their health insurance, a car payment, or, in certain areas. I was at a place in Missouri the other day and I asked the guy who has a YouTube channel and I said, he told me he pays $350 a month rent. So for him, his bills are $600 a month. It makes if he made $200 a month, it makes a big difference. Because,
I'm moving to Missouri.
Right. Where I'm at, I told him right out, your $350 place, we'd be renting for $750, $800.
Yeah.
There's
the island question? What's the island? Wait, what did I miss?
That's a Kimmy question.
I always when I host, I like to ask 5 random sort of silly questions at the end of a get to know you. Well, since we're about to wrap this up here shortly, I will just go ahead and ask you the question that she's referring to.
Bring it.
And just so you know, if you say the wrong answer, I'm unsubbing. I'm just kidding. No.
I'm under pressure now.
I'm just kidding. He's like, whatever.
Bring it. Let's go.
Okay. If you were stuck on an island and you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
This isn't anybody. All right. I'm going to give it 10 seconds in the chat. Anybody who's followed me close enough better know this answer. And I'm going to give you guys a hint right now. From the time I was born and raised until I was 20 years old and moved to Florida, I am from Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I grew up and lived. That is your hint. If you don't know the answer, shame on you. Go in the chat, 10 seconds, and then I'm going to tell it. Anybody understand what Baltimore, Maryland means to one thing, the one thing that matters? Pizza. Chris the Goose. Boom, nailed it. Baltimore is known for blue crabs. Absolutely, positively, 100%. I can eat crabs from now until the end of time, especially blue crabs and soft blue crabs. Yes, that is true.
So when you were a baby, you had baby crab food?
Yeah, turns out, yeah. So the Chesapeake Bay, I grew up on the Chesapeake Bay. I grew up 5 minutes from the bay, and we eat crabs for dinner on a random Tuesday night. Not even kidding. That is what we were born and raised on. Soft crabs, blue crabs, and Maryland Old Bay crabs. That's all you eat. So, yep, absolutely. There you go.
Real quick, and before Kimmy likes to ask these questions. How did you come up with the name RockStar Flipper?
Worst question ever.
No, I mean, did you play? I mean, when I made the thumbnail, I said I made the thumbnail. I had to throw on a guitar. Do you even know how to play a guitar, Casey?
No, I don't know if I've ever held a guitar in my life.
Oh, okay. So RockStar Flipper.
So this is one of the, if anybody, put it in the chat if you know, but way back in the day, my email address was my channel name, and it was actually called Small Business Millions. And the reason is I thought that there were small business owners that could become, I'm not going to say millionaires, but could do $1 million in sales. And that's always what I thought of. I was like, if I could just do $1 million in sales, even if it was 20 or 30% profit, I'd be happy. And so that was my channel name. And so I was up late one night, and I was like, man, I kind of think my name is lame. I think it sucks because this is back to the old thing of like, not everyone needs to do $1 million. Maybe they just need to do 100,000. I don't know. And so I was like, I got to change this. And so I was like, what do I do for a living? I was like, I'm a flipper. I'm a picker. You know, the auction show. What is that show? Antique Archaeology.
American Pickers.
American Pickers. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like a picker because I kind of did that. And I was like, yeah, I don't really like the picker name. I wasn't a big fan of it. Pickers is a great name, but they had it and like a lot of it, whatever. And so I was like, I'm a flipper. I flip stuff. And, you know, picker was kind of niche specific, like, oh, I'm picking. But a flipper was like, I could flip houses. I could flip cars. I could flip clothes. I could flip whatever. And so I came up with that. I was like, I got to come up with something to go with flipper. And so a lot of people don't know this, and I'm friends with Eddie, who's a bass player for Eddie Money. Eddie Money, if anyone doesn't, Take Me Home Tonight from the 80s. Anybody know that song? Anyway, so I'm friends with his bass player, and just texting with him, and before I was even RockStar Flipper, and he's like, man, some of the advice you give is just so pro. Like, he's like, you're the rock star of the reselling world. And I was like, that's it. Like, it was like 3 a.m, and I thought about it, and I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I was like, RockStar Flipper, and I just boom. I went on YouTube, I searched it, nothing came up, and I just nailed it. I was like, "That's what I'm going to be," and that was it. So
that was a great question. Now, my second question to follow up is RockStar Flipper 72 taken?
No, I don't believe it is, and I don't have a trademark. So I own the trademark in the state of Florida for RockStar Flipper. I do not own the trademark nationwide because it was deemed too general vague. So if you guys want to steal the word RockStar Flipper across any other state, knock yourself out. No. I own it in Florida. Do not come for me in Florida because I will shut you down. But across the country, there could be 52 RockStar Flippers in theory. So have fun with it.
What's another great one of those questions that we can ask Casey?
I just want to make sure you're paying attention to the time, right?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we got a couple more minutes. We got 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we can go.
besides reselling and being a rock star, what do you like to do in your free time? And one thing that you like to do when you do get free time.
So we live an hour from Disney. We keep Disney season passes.
That's my kind of.
Yeah, it's really cheap. Yeah, really cheap for Florida residents. We pay $30 a month for 2 of us, so $60 for both of us.
Wow.
And we get to go to all the parks. We can add the water parks for like $10 a month. Yeah, so they help Florida residents out. We love Disney. We like to go to waterfront restaurants and just sit out on the deck and have a beer and some nachos and some quesadillas and just watch the sunset and sit out. Waterfront restaurants are on every place here. So we really do love the Florida lifestyle. Disney is great because it's an hour away. And yeah, that's kind of the thing. I do like the mountains. I do want to go to Pigeon Forge. In Gatlinburg. I don't know if you guys know the cabins with the hot tubs there that are over the decks.
I've heard.
Yeah, so those are really big. Those are high up on my get away from everything type vacation. I love those. Pat loves Disney. He's drooling. Yeah, come live in Florida. You get it cheap.
I'll be down there December 28th.
There you go. Call me up because after Christmas we do nothing.
All right.
I'll be happy to drive over there. You can drive over here, whatever you want to do. So
all right, buddy.
Call it a date. Yeah. So that's what we do here. And we love our dogs. Our dogs are the wrecking crew and they cause problems. And yeah, so that's what we do.
Now we're gonna allow Casey to we're not hanging up the broadcast for about 5 or 7 more minutes, me and Kimmy. But we're gonna let Casey plug something. Tell him about your channel, your show, and anything exciting you're doing this week before we let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is in 11 minutes from now, I am on live. My YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/RockStar Flipper, all one word, or you can just search RockStar Flipper. So that's every Thursday. It's been live every Thursday for the last 3 years. I've only missed 2 nights. One was the hurricane evacuation, and one was Vegas eBay Open, which I had no internet. Sorry. And So yeah, that's every 9 p.m. And then I do videos pretty much every day. I miss like once a month, but you can check out anything you need to learn. I try to do updated news stories, updated, breaking news, things that we've sold, things that we've bought, just a whole eclectic mix of everything. If you need extra help, I never, push anyone to have to pay for anything, but you can learn a lot of stuff on Google and YouTube from people like Pat and myself and Rake and all these guys. Absolutely free. But if you need an extra helping hand and you don't want to spend the time researching or watching, I do have training courses and programs. You can find them on my YouTube videos in the description box, or you can just email me, rockstarflipper@gmail.com, and I'll send you over all the options. So those are always available. I sit down, I do video calls with people, I do training, I do all this different stuff. So Rockstar Flipper 72 just logged into the chat, by the way.
Yeah, they like to bust. They like to bust my chops. They want to be 72 like Patdees. So,
God, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, basically do your research, learn stuff. And my number one advice, I want to tell all of your audience, my number one advice is put the work in. You get out what you put in. If you lay around all week and you call me and you're like, hey, I listed 2 items this week and nothing sold, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be straight with you. And I'm going to tell you, hey, look, it's because you were lazy and you didn't do anything. If you're serious and you want to make money, you have to put the work in. It seems like I live this life of like, I don't have to do everything every day. I work really hard. I work 12 and 14 hours a day. Even if you take my YouTube out, we work really hard to buy and sell. It is a job, but we've traded clocking in and working for a manager and being places and getting threatened with our jobs for let's work at home and go to thrift stores or go to garage sales or sell and buy and whatever all day and do it on our own versus having to answer to anyone else. So that's the freedom you get. Our children can stay at home. I don't have any kids yet, but when I have a kid, I don't have to pay for daycare. I don't have to drive my kid back and forth. I don't have to get up in traffic and drive downtown. So if that's the life you want to live, make sure you put the work in, you do the work, and you will get it. No doubt about it.
Hey, Casey, I really appreciate taking the time to come on our show tonight. If you guys haven't subscribed to his channel, the link will be down below. And we are going to actually jump over at 9 o'clock, but me and Kimmy are going to finish out probably about 4 or 5 minutes. And Casey, thanks again for coming on, buddy.
Absolutely. Hey, and I want you to do me a favor, and I'll have everyone hold me to this. Message me. Obviously we'll talk between now and then, but message me for a month from now. Let's do it again in a month or so.
Okay.
And let's jump back on the channel, and we'll do that. And I'm going to do you one too. I'm going to have you back over on my channel so we can promote you out to all my audience, because hopefully in about a month or two, I'll be very close to 100,000 subscribers. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do that. We'll bring Kimmy on too, and we'll bring you both on. I'll put it all out on Instagram. If you guys don't follow any of us on Instagram, I don't know if they push their Instagram very hard, Pat and Kimmy.
I'm just, mine's under Life of Kimberly, not Borderline Hoarderish, but I do use Instagram. So
absolutely, yeah. Instagram is a huge medium, so make sure you follow them on Instagram and check their threads and help them out, because if you can get them to 10,000 followers, Instagram really boosts your interaction and your stories and your swipe up. So that would be a big help to both of them. And if you want to follow me, great. I'm really bad at Instagram. I forget about it all.
You know who got me on Instagram? That guy playing poker at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wait. It didn't even take me a second to remember. Like, look, Wade pushes everyone for Instagram. So.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he must own Facebook stock, so I get it.
I think he does. And you know what? There's people always tell me that I'm a robot, that I don't sleep, which is true. I don't sleep a lot. There's no one that doesn't not sleep as much as Wade as I do. Like, there's no doubt about it. That guy is a machine. So.
Here's Scott, the bearded picker, coming in to say good night to you, Casey.
Oh, yeah. Bearded picker. I met him in Vegas. He's awesome, too. So thank you. I'm going to head over to my show. I got 6 minutes.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much, Kimmy and Pat, both of you. Thanks to the audience, and thanks to Adam for adminning. And I'll see you over at the live show.
Yep, we'll see you
there.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
That was great.
It was great. He's awesome.
He's a nice young man, and I really appreciate him, coming on the show. It was a bucket list thing for me to do. I had been talking to him since January, and sometimes I could be a little overwhelming and stuff. And if they don't know who you are, and you're like, "Hey, come on my show," and you're like, "Well, who are you?" And I wanted him to watch me a couple times and kind of have that trust to really come on the show and feel comfortable that I was here for him also. And there he is. He wants to now get together at Disney. So I'm a quiet guy. I usually don't get to meet many people.
Are you kidding?
My wife is in the background saying, "Oh my God."
You tell him, Denise. You tell him.
Yeah. You look very nice tonight, Kimmy. I like the necklace there.
Yeah. I got this from Cindy Loves Jewelry, who I mention quite often is sort of my hookup in the jewelry area. I'm a little addicted to buying jewelry. The struggle is real.
Oh, before we go, why don't you mention who's going to be on next week's Thursday show?
Oh, yeah, sure. So next week is going to go back to normal hours. I will be hosting the show that week. And the guest is going to be Rise and Grind picker Shane. And I'm so excited because I think that he's awesome. And he's another person I've been following for quite some time. And I've learned a lot from him. But so I'm stoked to have that. And then the week following that, there's going to be 2 weeks in a row where you're hosting, and then it will go flip. It'll start flip-flopping back and forth.
Next week on September the 5th, after Labor Day, it'll be Rise and Grind picker Shane. And I'm excited. I got to meet him in person in Tennessee, and we went bowling. And I really liked meeting him in person, and he's a good guy. And he's one of the guys that back in January when I had made that top 10, he was on there. And he was the smallest channel, and he went from something like 10,000 to over 25,000. So it was really nice meeting him. We're actually going to be working together on doing some more stuff since he lives up north here. And it was, sometimes when we meet people on YouTube, even though we talk like this, it's always even a little different meeting them in person. And I hope I made a good impression upon him, because I think he's a good guy, and I had a good time hanging out with him. And sometimes people can have a perception about someone that they've only talked for 20 minutes on YouTube and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, the fun that we had hanging out for about 2 hours bowling the next day and stuff, it was really I value that friendship. So, and then the following week, it's going to go back to me. We're going to have Jason Dreesen on. He buys
Thrift trader.
Thrift trader. He buys storage units for a living and stuff. And he's a regular every guy. He doesn't push his YouTube much because he's busy buying units and stuff. And that's where I want to have a blend of not just big YouTube channels, but a blend of really people that are making a living doing reselling. And then the following week, Locker Nuts is going to be on. That's the 19th. We got a lot of exciting things coming in the future that me and Kimmy have planned
Good guess. I'm excited.
for Thursdays. Interviews, different things that we're going to do that I'm not going to reveal right now. That we'll do some seasonal things that we're working on in the future and stuff like that. So I'm really excited by what me and Kimmy are doing here, and I really want to thank everybody. I think at the peak we had 39 people here. I should be doing, as long as I'm not tied up Saturday, I'm not sure, because I'm working on doing something for 9/11. So I think I'm going to be going to the Freedom Tower in New York, and I'm going to be doing a program on that. So I'm not sure, but I do plan to do a Saturday show, that my Late Late Show, back from Nashville this Saturday. And, next week, again, Kimmy's hosting the show. I'll be dropping some videos of when I hung out with What the Hells about 10 days ago. I kind of been lax on some of my videos because, I'll be honest, with me being in Nashville, and I went through 8 states, 1,800 miles, and drove 2 15-hour days. And I've been behind things as far as those. But I was up till about 2 o'clock last night editing another video. So there are videos coming out next week with What the Hells, Jeebus, Nevermore Antiques, Nashville trip. So there's a lot planned for the future. I want to thank Adam again for supporting me with the
Yes, thank you, Adam.
That helps support the channel and support me. So I appreciate it. It is 9 o'clock. I want to thank everybody. And I did say I would go over to show Casey some support. If you guys could go over there and say Patdees sent you over there, I'd greatly appreciate it. Kimmy, did you want to say anything more before we go?
No, man, we could have gone 2 hours with Casey tonight. Like, I'm excited that he's going to come back, because I'd like to.
Me too.
To learn more. He's a wealth of knowledge and has taught me. In fact, I learned a lot of the kind of the nitty gritty of eBay from watching him, shipping kind of odd things. And then I used to call him the newsman, because he always sort of had the latest and greatest and up-to-date information. And not that, I could easily go and read all the documents, of course, myself, but life gets busy sometimes. So it's nice to have a little, somebody to kind of fill you in a 5 to 10 minute video. So I was totally stoked to know that he was coming on the show.
So, all right, guys, we're going to end it there. Have a great night, and thanks for joining us again on the Thursday Night Live episode. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.